Angle that shows how little movement there is in the head and neck position as Brendan rises for air and returns to streamline. It's all about timing and connection. Just as Brendan connects his hands, head, and hips as he goes to air, he also connects his hands, head, and hips as he returns to streamline. Here's Brendan at the highest point in his stroke cycle. The hands are directly under the chin. As Brendan's hands begin to surge forward and slice through the surface of the water, his head seems connected to the hands. The hands seem to draw the head forward. During the surge forward, there's no up and down movement of the head. It simply moves forward on a direct path with the hands. As Brendan continues to surge forward, notice that his hands and head hit full streamline at the same time. Here's another angle. Watch how the finished head position, with eyes down and head completely inside the shoulders, coincides with the finished hand position. And with this angle, you can see how the hands, head, and hips are connected and aligned for a perfect streamline. Each stroke starts and finishes with the hands, head, and hips perfectly aligned. In this clip, Brendan is swimming at a relaxed, easy pace. Look for the connection of the hands, head, and hips going up to air, and the connection as he returns to streamline. At a slightly faster pace, the connection is still there. He seems to move forward with no stops and starts in his stroke. And at race pace, you can still see the connection. This kind of consistency is no accident. The key elements that Brendan wants in his stroke at race pace are the things he practices every day at training pace. Remember, connect your hands, head, and hips to pull yourself forward rather than up and down. How does Brendan achieve world record pace? Watch his hands. Notice how they move quickly and smoothly through the entire pole cycle, with no hitches and no stopping points. Brendan makes sure that he gets into streamline on every stroke, but he doesn't spend much time there. His hands flow quickly into the outsweep. He catches and grabs water, but the hands don't rest there. Once the hands anchor, they turn and start immediately to sweep back and in. The hands pull back, but they don't get stuck. As soon as the chin is over the hands immediately lift and shoot forward into the recovery. Let's watch it again at speed. Notice how the hands move continuously, and notice how quickly Brendan gets them back into streamline. Here's a closer look at the in-sweep. From the side, you can see that Brendan keeps his hands in front of his shoulders. By keeping the hands in front of the shoulders, Brendan maintains hand speed and momentum. When he focuses on fast hands, Brendan also thinks about his elbows. In this clip, watch the elbows and notice that he never lets them collapse or drop. Here's another view of Brendan keeping his hands in front of the shoulders and his elbows high. Notice how quickly his hands switch from pulling to shooting forward. Another way that Brendan achieves fast hands is to shoot his hands over the water during the recovery. This cuts down on resistance and allows the hands to drive into streamline. By working on fast hands, Brendan is able to get his upper body back into streamline before the kick begins. This allows him to get maximum power from his kick. In this next clip, you'll see one of the fine points that Brendan works on in his recovery. Notice that during the extension, Brendan rolls his palms out to be ready to start the next pull. This is one of the key elements of fast hands. If you recover with palms up, you need to turn the hands over quickly to get ready for the next pull. In this final clip, focus on how Brendan's hand speed sets the pace for the rest of his stroke, and notice how fast hands help him maintain constant forward motion with no stops and starts in his stroke. When Brendan works on his kick, and he does this at every practice, his number one goal is to eliminate drag. He does this in several ways. The first is to focus on timing. On every stroke, Brendan makes sure that his upper body is in streamline before he delivers his kick. This ensures that he will get maximum power out of every kick. Watch how the hands reach full extension just as the feet are poised to begin the kick. And notice how the hands remain up front until the feet come together. Don't rush the hands. Keep them out in front and together until the kick is complete. The second way to eliminate drag is to hide the legs and feet during the recovery. In this clip, let's focus on the legs and thighs. Notice that Brendan's knees are pointed slightly back as he recovers the legs. And he tries to minimize the bend at the hips. By pointing the knees back and keeping the thighs hidden behind the torso, Brendan eliminates drag. By hiding his kick, Brendan avoids the complete stops and the big surges that are typical of the stroke. The idea is to keep moving forward at all times, and Brendan does this by keeping his knees and thighs hidden behind his body. Notice how Brendan hides his upper legs and keeps his knees pointed back as he sets up each kick. This helps him maintain constant forward motion, and this is one of the key elements of his stroke. Brendan also hides his feet. Here you can see that he keeps his feet close together with toes pointed inward as he recovers the legs. The toes point inward until the final moment. As the hands reach full extension, The toes turn out to the sides and the legs snap back to deliver the kick. As the feet come together, Brendan takes one more step to eliminate drag. He points his toes. The key to fast breaststroke is to eliminate resistance in every part of the stroke and in your overall body position. This means you want to be horizontal with your hips high. But horizontal doesn't mean flat. Watch how Brendan stays horizontal but undulates just above and just below the surface. Notice Brendan's hips and how high they are during every part of the stroke. To get this kind of undulation in body position, Brendan thinks about pressing his hips up. That means he thinks about pressing in with his chest to get his hips to go up. Notice that Brendan's head and arms remain relatively high in the water. It's his chest that goes deep. And when the chest goes deep, the hips go up. This slight undulation helps you move forward rather than up and down. By keeping the hips high, it's easier to set up for a powerful kick. With the hips up, a powerful kick will send you forward. In these next clips, focus on Brendan's overall body position. Notice how he presses in at the chest to send the hips up. For the final section of the video, Brendan will just swim, and you can watch how all the parts come together to create speed. Try to pick out the things we focused on. Does he have streamlined timing? Does he connect his hands, head, and hips as he goes up to air? Do his hands, head, and hips connect as he surges forward into streamline? Are his hands fast, And do they set the rhythm for his stroke?